Mä pelotin, että se tulee mun päälle, mutta... Mikä? Hi, welcome back to our devlog. On Monday morning we didn't do anything interesting, so let's start this day with lunch. But after lunch a catastrophe struck. The cafe was closed, which was really sad. But do you know what never closes? The pool table. After the daily pool session, one of our designers started to play around with a tool called Fmod. It is a handy tool that you can use to integrate sounds into your game, and it is free for indie developers with a budget under $500,000. Link to it can be found in the description. One of the next things on the agenda for that day was giving our crew members some life through animations. We used some ready-made animations from Mixamo, which is a great free website where you can, for example, easily rig your character model and animate it with some ready-made animations that you are free to use for your own projects. A link for that is in the description also. And here's the first time you can see our lure mechanic in action. The player will be able to drop lures in the water that will attract the fish. When the player clicks on the lure, the fish get mad and they swim towards the surface and attack the player's ship. In slow motion, of course. Here you can see our crew member walking our deck in a beautiful T pose. Also, our ship got a small makeover. The windows are now round and the roof has an eye-catching dome. We also got started on a new shark-like fish. And that was everything we did that day. Remember that paper prototype we made last week? If you don't, you can watch last week's episode here. Anyway, here you can see us actually putting it to use. Also, our artist made progress with our shark, while our designer continued with our crew dialogue. Each of our crew members has a name, profession, and a personality that will affect their voice lines. Our upgrading system is also almost completed. And we have a simple main menu. Then it was time for food. And here's when that amazing pool shot happened you saw in the beginning of the video. We can also now switch between our weapons. And here our artist is showing me his progress with the shark model.
Tuo mysteeri, onko nämä ihmisten tekemiä vai niinku...
Se on sellainen pieni mysteeri.
Miksi siinä on venttiili?
Miniventtiili siellä. Totta.
Plus sit sillä on persereikä.
On kyllä persereikä. On kyllä persereikä. Se on hyvä.
For programmers it is important to plan out their code, but also to keep their typing hands strong.
Anna. Suutu jo.
Tuntoista porukos. Now our nameless sailors finally have names inside the game. Also, you can now drop lures from the ship. Well, kinda. On Wednesday, we found out about a small performance problem. Some of the light reflections created 4 million polygons into the scene, which really slowed down our frame rate, but we are able to fix it. Meanwhile, apparently our boat became a submarine.
Sinne meni.
And if we aren't able to finish our game, at least we made a beautiful virtual aquarium. And I can't get enough of our slow-mo fish shooting. We also captured some images for marketing purposes. I forgot to film lunch that day, but here's the pool clips you came in for, right? Here's a mock-up of our end screen, where you could see how many people survived. We also have a murky muzzle flash effect. Our artist is almost finished with the shark. And we have our first build. Then we just played around with the game.
On tosi hyvä neti. Et ei. Ammu! Oi kun on pitkä cooldown.
On Thursday, I published a post on a voice acting forum. We are looking for voice actors for our game, and if you are interested or know someone who would be, a link for the forum post is in the description below. There you can find more information about this topic. After that, our designers playtested our first build and took notes on what still needed to be fixed. They found out that our ship was so cold that it was shivering. Also, we finally got a real lure model. And apparently there are 2 ways to drink coffee. Here you can see our programmer trying to make the camera go down. And here you can see our beautiful spaghetti-like fish swimming parts. Our artist started to work on our 3rd fish model. We also have a new version of our UI. Some people say that the moon landing was fake, but in our game the whole moon is a lie. Also, our programmer made our previously quite choppy camera scrolling feel really smooth and satisfying. Our designer started to draw out a diagram of our game scenes. I also invented this new sport. I don't have a name for it yet, but it clearly was very addicting. This doesn't particularly have anything to do with the project, but I ended the day counting the inventory of our school's loanable games. We couldn't believe it, but we actually got responses from talented voice actors who wanted to have a part in our game. We spent the morning going through the responses, and here are some of my personal favorites.
Surprise, fishes!
Ben spent so much time with me shovel that I should marry her.
Manda Cannon! Hope I survived worse.
Meanwhile, our programmers were fixing our build, so we could have our first public playtest session. One of our programmers also did some research on a decal system that we can use to decorate our models, and one of our artists was tasked to create water droplet particle systems. A mock-up of our start screen also progressed. Then it was again time for lunch and a pool. Remember that shivering problem that our ship had? Well, one of our programmers found a fix for it. At least it is not shaking anymore. We still had some issues with our current build, but it was time for playtesting to begin. We used OneDrive to share the build, and apparently sometimes it corrupts Unity files, so keep that in mind for your own projects. Luckily the problem went away after downloading it again, and the playtesting could continue. We used 2 computers for playtesting, and our designers took notes during the session. After the playtest, we asked the testers to fill a form. Meanwhile, our programmers went through the game's code structure together. After reaching this milestone of having our first public playtest session, we celebrated by playing some Settlers of Catan. We played for a couple of hours, and then it was time for a weekend break. So, that's it for this week. I really appreciate all of you watching these devlogs, and I hope that if you like them, you would leave a like and subscribe. Also, post any feedback and suggestions you might have for us in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week.